the fundamental things apply as time goes by.
Hello everyone, I'm very excited today to introduce you to Esravision's very own Barry Langford, celebrating his, wait for it, 80th birthday.
Oh, I didn't think I'd get there.
Barry Langford, in his very long career, has been involved in show business just about from the age of...
15 years of age. I left home. I had an argument with my father, a few things, and I joined a thing called ENSO, which is the National Service, looking after all the troops. So I left the National Service and I went into a thing called Treasure Island.
A production?
Yes, at the King's Theatre. I was Morgan, you know.
The King's Theatre in where? In London?
The King's, yes, King's Theatre, London, yeah. By then I was 21, and I was a comedian, I was a singer, and I was a dancer. I was doing everything. I even got into a circus. Yeah, I was Hagenberg Circus. And from then onwards, I started doing very well as a comedian. And suddenly, I decided to help the Zionist thing, and I got arrested taking guns to Israel. That moment, I couldn't move. And when I walked on stage, and they threw bottles at me. So when I came off, they said to me, "You are finished." Well,
this is before the establishment of the state?
This is before, yeah. You're finished. It was what we call treason. So the agents called me in, and all the agents in those days were all Jews. They called me in and said, "Look, you've finished. You're gone." So I said, "Well, what am I going to do?" They said, "Is there anything you want to do?" So I said, "Well, I like antique silver." They said, "Right, find a place, and we'll start you off on antique silver," which they did do. And after, what, 6 months, I became the largest in the world. I was in there for 10 years. I was doing marvellous, fantastically, and I opened places here, but I hated it. When I was with the silver business, I used to do things on Southern Television, used to do things with chamber pots and various different things. And one of the producers there was, today he's very famous, called John Borman. He rang me up and said, "Listen, I'd like to do a program on you called Citizen 63. So I said, "All right, okay." And I made this program, Citizen 63, which was a big hit.
Anyway, as a producer or a star?
No, as the star.
I see.
From then the BBC rang me up and said, "Listen, you get a lot of ideas and things. Do you want to join the BBC?" So I said, "Okay, I'll go and join the BBC." Within 2 months, well, it was actually 1 month, I was head of Jukebox Jury, which was the...
Oh, that was the programme. I grew up on Jukebox Jury, by the way. So we're talking, what, the 60s? We're now in the 60s, definitely.
Then I got another idea, and I had 6 shows going all over the place, either as compere, as a producer, as a writer. And I did this for about 2 or 3 years, and suddenly the boom was going out of it. You know, we loved it. The 60s was fantastic. So they rang me up from America and said, "Do you want to come to America and do what you're doing there?" So I said yes. And then they rang me up from Australia and said, "Do you want to come?" So I went to Australia. And then I've been there, Australia, America, England. I've done Tom Jones and here and there. Anyway.
I know you worked with the Beatles. Tell me a little bit about that.
I met the Beatles. They'd just come back from Germany, and I introduced them to a girl called Leslie Conn. We took the Beatles to EMI, Decca, Pi, and they all said, "Throw them out. They're terrible."
Interested in them?
No, they said they're terrible. The Rolling Stones, I made the Rolling Stones. They were doing nicely, and I said, "Right, I'm going to put them on Jukebox Jury." Said, "You're raving mad." Put them on Jukebox Jury.
Was Pete Murray a compere?
No, it wasn't Pete Murray. David Jacobs.
Oh, yeah.
I put him into Jukebox Jury, and the people ring up saying, "Put them down, take them off." And so they're telling me off, and somebody comes in and hands in a thing, and he looks at it and he says, 93%. I don't say 93. No, it's all right. Well, we thought it was a very good idea, Barry. They got 93%, which has never been known. Rating. I suddenly got the urge, I've got to go to Israel, because I always wanted to come here, but I couldn't get a living.
What about employment in Israel? What would you think you would want to do that?
I'm confident that I'll get a job in television.
The television in Israel is not in English.
I always wanted to come here, but I couldn't get a living.
Zionist. So you picked up, or you took your wife
Just
and your
took everything
kids
up and come out here and, yep. And I
what
learned...
sort of work did you do?
No, but the thing was, I went into Ulpan and I learned a thing called shalom, something, yeah.
What
I
was
learned
that?
shalom.
You learned
I learned
language,
shalom,
right.
which was hello. But my wife, she learned goodbye.
Oh.
And I stayed and she left. That's how it was.
She didn't like it?
No, she didn't like it.
And
off she
stayed
went.
with the two children.
And the two
here.
children
You have
stayed
two
with me.
children, right?
Yep.
I think most of our viewers probably know your daughter, very famous, beautiful daughter, Caroline Langford.
Yeah, she's doing all right.
Apart from having been married to Moshe Dayan's son, Asi Dayan.
My daughter married Moshe Dayan's son.
So Caroline married Asi Dayan.
And that's it.
And they have a son.
Yeah, Leora.
So you stayed here with your two...
Yeah.
And you started to work where? At Herzliya Studios, right?
No, I didn't. They brought me, I came over to Israel and I didn't have whether I could get anything. And I rang up the television and said, is it possible for me to see the place? I said, yes. And one of the head directors of the television came up to me and he said, do you know about, you at BBC? I said, yeah. He said, can you pan left, pan right, upside down? I said, yeah. He said, when can you start?
As a cameraman?
No.
As a director?
As a director.
You started to work here without speaking Hebrew, in English?
Only in Hebrew.
In Hebrew? You worked in Hebrew?
And I worked for 30 years only in Hebrew, and I never knew what a word I was saying.
And Barry, you've also appeared in films in Israel.
Yeah, also awful lot here. Hannah Senish.
What did you play in Hannah Sanish?
Here he is.
Oh,
I was
an officer?
No, but the general. I got Hannah Senish to do actually the Avanti Popolo.
Do you know what I mean by war? I mean blood. And I want blood. That's what they pay me for. That's why they send a crew across the fucking Mediterranean, a soundman, a cameraman, me. What, just to shoot the natures of the beauties of the Sinai Desert?
I've had a great life.
Regrets? What about regrets?
Do you want my regrets?
Come on.
Yeah. My wife left me. That was this was to me, but it was a tragedy, and I got to get over it. But that was the only regret that I look back and think, right, everybody's made fortunes from me. I never told anything. Do you know the Grammys, you know the things they made? I thought of the bloody Grammys. I spent every penny I had and they were taken away from Las Vegas. I thought of those things. All these things came on me. I think at 21, maybe I'll make it, maybe I won't make it. Will I meet a girl? I like it as I am.
Barry Admer Bestream.
What the future brings as time goes by.